Look at there. Sometimes I forget to turn on my microphone. Silly me. All right, welcome back. We're going to be diving into chapter 12. One second while I get that pulled up. So, chapter 12, moving right along. We talked a little bit about informative speech, or not informative. We talked a little bit about the introduction speech at the end of last class. So, again, I want to make sure that you know where you're at. That is coming up. That'll be your first speech, 2 to 3 minutes at least. 2.5 would be ideal. 3 would be great. 3.5 is good. 4 minutes starting to get long. You see what I'm saying? I don't deduct points until 5 minutes. But I want you to just kind of keep it in mind. Start thinking about what makes you unique, what makes you special. All right. So, chapter 12. Let's talk about what we're going to kind of look over. In chapter 12, we're going to be talking about the informative speech. So that's our second speech. First speech, introduction speech, where you introduce yourself. Second speech is an informative speech. We're going to talk about what we do with informative speeches, why we give informative speeches, what types of informative speeches there are, some guidelines on selecting some topics, kind of give you nudges in the right direction, and then guidelines on preparing your informative speech. So, what is an informative speech? Well, an informative speech is a speech based entirely and exclusively on facts, and whose main purpose, the main purpose of that speech really is to inform, right? Not really to entertain, amuse, not really to persuade, not even really to inspire necessarily, just to inform, give us information. Facts are statements that are irrefutable, that cannot be argued. They are scientifically proven. Okay? A fact is proven by science. Informative speeches should not really be incorporating your opinion as the basis of the speech, meaning you're not an expert necessarily in that field typically. We want you to find information from outside of you that proves something is real, proves something happened, proved information. And action could be the result of an informative speech, but it's not always. So there's different types of informational speeches and informative speeches, basically where we're informing the public. Some types of informative speeches are history or biographical, meaning something that happened in time or something that happened to someone or someone's life, right? Processes can become great informational speeches, like how to change a flat tire or how to select classes for next semester or how to pick out the perfect wardrobe for your body type. All those could be processes, right? Concepts. You could be sharing with me something about pollution, about types of pollution, right? Or you can tell me about something like civil engineering and explain what it is and why it works for society. What is the benefit for society? So that's your categories or divisions. Now, when we think about informative speeches, history, we can be talking about a time, a place, an object, idea. I have a There's a personal speech that I give sometimes about taking my wife to go see Lincoln's tomb. Now, she spent the better part of her life in the South. She also went to college college in New York State, upstate New York. And I took her to Lincoln's tomb, which is in Springfield, Illinois. That's where Lincoln really started to hit his stride, and he was serving in Illinois when he was obviously appointed, as a candidate for presidency, and he politicked and ended up winning that vote. Now, one can look at it a lot of different ways, but that's not really what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is I took my wife to Lincoln's tomb. Lincoln's tomb was donated entirely by people. They gave money, they gave work, they gave time to build his tomb. It was not done by our government. It was not even done by the state of Illinois, although the state did help a little bit. The reality was people did that for Lincoln. And we were there to see his ornate tomb. It's very beautiful. And to kind of remember a man who changed history, a man who was willing to not always take the most popular opinion, but to take the right opinion in many things. He wasn't a perfect man. We all have flaws. While we were there, enjoying the beauty of this amazing, solemn place, right? An African American girl came off of a bus of special needs children. And the kids came in. There were about 8 of them, with 4 people to kind of help wrangle them, keep them, obviously from touching too much, like most kids would do, right? And we were blessed with the ability to kind of stay back. We were at the back side of their group. Their group was going through, and then we went through. And this little girl was so appreciative to Abraham Lincoln and his place in history. We should all be appreciative of those who came before us. Many people took a hard road. Many people did things that they didn't probably want to do, but they did it for the better part of all our society. It was a touching moment to watch someone who understood a good deal, maybe not everything, but was so thankful for a man who was willing to stand up to what he believed was right and good. And it gave me hope for humanity. It gives me hope for those. That's one of those beautiful moments. Here I'm talking to you about a place in history, and yet I'm turning it into a personal story about history as well. I'm doing 2 with 1. I'm informing you where was Lincoln buried, how did it happen, and then I'm telling you about how many people's lives it's touched later on down the line. Still to this day, still touching people's lives. Now, your informative speech doesn't have to be that. You could tell me about a process, brushing one's teeth, medical. It could be any number of things. You remember I throw out that hospice one a lot. Early in the class, I threw that one out a lot because I think it's an important thing. And many people's lives will be touched by it. I don't want you to take a topic, though, that you're not passionate about. I want you to be passionate about your topic. Informative speeches, or the majority of speeches given, typically fall within that category. They're trying to explain something to people. Process speeches can be a little more difficult, a little more tricky, because you have to educate the the audience, to what it is you're trying to accomplish with that speech in every step along the way. So it can be a bit tedious, a bit cumbersome even. But these are the type of speeches that must have a good, solid organization, and yet some freedom to tell a story, some freedom to share personal experience, perhaps within that. You don't have to share personal experience. You could tell me about what were the most important moments during World War II and how did it shape the world. That's a pretty cool speech topic, I suppose, if you like that kind of thing. If you don't, it's a horrible speech topic, right? I got the history of Barbie, and I actually enjoyed that speech thoroughly. I don't really like Barbie dolls, don't care, right? But I really enjoyed that speech thoroughly because I've learned a lot. And it was so different, so unique. So you need to pick your specific topic, your focused topic, your idea. What is it that you want to say? What do you want to do your speech on? Now, I want you to avoid faux topics or false topics, right? Controversial topics can be that, like things like aliens or conspiracy or Bigfoot, right? I want you to stick to facts. I'm not saying there's not facts. There's not conclusive proof to prove there is a Bigfoot, right? But is there conclusive proof to prove that there's not a Bigfoot? I don't know. That'd be up to you to show me. But the point is, I'd rather you stick to your wheelhouse, to something you know, but something you still need to research and or ask an expert opinion on. Avoid being too broad and avoid trying to cover too much. All right? Meaning don't, if it has 15 steps, it's probably too long of, it's going to be too long of a speech. Be accurate, be clear, and keep it interesting. Keep your audience in mind. Think about your audience. Like I said before, your audience is your class. Now, your whole class isn't going to see this speech, but I want you to pretend that they are. I want you to give me this speech in that manner. Okay. Here's some more topics. I want you to look through this page. I want you to write down, see if one of these on this page sparks your interest or makes you think of another topic. I'm going to allow you a few minutes here to kind of look through this. See if any of this gets your attention. Do you see anything here? Some of these topics are kind of, I wouldn't call them controversial, but they are definitely not your norm either. You have to come up with your topic. I don't want you to copy something off here if it's not interesting to you. I want you to come up with your topic. Okay? I want you to think about it. Now, I'm not actually done. I want to talk more about what an informative speech is, and we're going to look at what we want. Let me stop sharing this, though. What we want to accomplish with that, all right? So when we think about, give me 1 second, I'm trying to share my screen. Hopefully I won't mess up and hit anything I don't want to hit. All right. So again, let's go back. We're going to kind of review where things are. Remember, announcements is where we're going to find important information. I'm going to put out here that I've recorded these lessons and then put out there the questions and videos that I need you to watch as well. All right. But I want you to start here and let's talk about this. All right. So the first speech is the introductory speech. I put it in there. There's some notes about it. All right. Then we come down here. Go scroll on down. Oh, here we go. Informative speech. Let's talk about speech one first, real quick again. Introductory speech. You're introducing yourself, 2 to 3 minutes, talking about you. No notes, no note cards, just telling me about you. I love this speech because I want to learn more about you. I find that all of you are interesting and fascinating people. If you don't believe me, email me and tell me 3 things that you do that maybe someone else can't do. Or I want you to email me and tell me there's nothing interesting about me at all. And then I'm going to ask you some questions about you, and you're going to discover how interesting you are. Right? So let's go to, again, what I'm trying to accomplish here in chapter 12. Again, talking about that informative speech. You're giving me a speech 5 to 10 minutes long. I'm really looking for 5 to 7 in that sweet spot, but you could go up to 10 to enlighten and inform the class about your topic. You need to email me that topic. And in this speech, you have to use visual aids. Have to. Remember we talked about visual aids before, low tech, high tech, how can we use them? It could be poster board, it could be PowerPoint. What one do you want to use? It's up to you. But it needs to be incorporated within the speech, meaning it needs to be on camera. I need to be able to see it, which means you're going to have to practice it to make sure it all flies flawlessly, which is why I love the product like Zoom, where it's free. You can download it to a phone or to more likely a laptop would be better. And through that, you can actually show your PowerPoint on screen, just like I do. Okay. It's super easy to use, very intuitive. It doesn't take a ton of practice, and it makes you look like a professional. And when you go to interviews, you can say, I know how to use them, because that's pretty important nowadays, because many meetings are being held virtually, right? So the informative speech, I'm looking at 5 to 7 minutes, realistically up to 10. So 5 to 10 minutes to enlighten and inform the class about something. That something is entirely up to you. You're going to give me facts, figures. You're going to give me information that is factual, proven in multiple places. This is where research comes into play. You have to research this. You're going to have to tell me where you got your information from. Now, you're going to do it on an outline, but you're also going to do it within your speech. You're going to tell me this source, say the source's name, said that, and then state what it said. Just as easy as that. You transition with that. Another source, and you state their name, stated that, and then give that fact. It's as easy as that. I have some videos for you to watch. In fact, a fair amount of them this chapter. That's why this lecture is going to be a bit shorter. I want you to watch them. I want you to watch what other people are saying to do. This is your speech. This is the normal type of speech that most people will have to give throughout their lives. You'll have to inform people about something, an audience about something. So I want you to think about it. Start your process. Really start ramping up. What do I want to tell people about? What do I want to share? What information that's factual, not opinion, not feelings? What could it be? That is your speech number 2, informative speech. Okay. That's it for us today. Relatively short class, but a lot of videos. So we're going to watch the videos and answer the question. That is it for us. I want to thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.